guys, welcome back to another video. So today I have for you this soft glam look. Get into it. It's very sultry, very soft glam, very a lot of makeup. But also, I mean, like, we have to show out and, you know, show off. So if you'd like to see how I achieve this look, please keep on watching. How is everyone doing? I hope good. We're going to be getting right on into this makeup look. So I already did my brows off camera. I have a brow tutorial up if you'd like to check it out. So let's get right on into the makeup. I'm going to first of all start by priming my face. I will be using the Fenty Beauty Smooth Soft Matte Primer because we don't want our makeup to move, we don't want it to shift, we don't want it to go anywhere. Use any primer you like, your favorite primer, the primer that works for your needs. I like this primer because I don't know if it does a good job of mattifying, but I know that it's actually quite smooth and creamy and it feels like face cream. That's why I like it a lot. It's like moisturizing, you know, and it has a nice smell too. Let me just get my hair out the way. So, primer on, and my favorite foundation that I use whenever I want all my blemishes gone with the wind is the Juvias Lace Magic Foundation. If I could just find it. This baby right here. I really love this foundation because it does everything for me in terms of color correcting. Like, once I apply this foundation, my canvas is smooth because my skin is not looking too great right now because aka laziness. But whenever I use this foundation, I'm just, you know, I'm glowing, I'm thriving because it's like full coverage, and I really like that about this foundation. So I'm just going to take like a blob on my hand, and I'll just rub that on my face. Now I don't color correct, but if you had more darker spots, more hyperpigmentation, and you need a little bit more coverage, I would suggest at this point you go ahead to color correct. Now you could color correct with a concealer that is your skin tone, such that you just kind of cover up the spots a little bit before you go with your foundation. But I kind of skip that step because my spots are not as bad as they used to be. Next up, we're going to be doing a little bit of contouring. I'm going to be going into this NYX cream highlight and contour palette, and with the brush I'm going to go into the contour shade. I'm just going to take the brush and just rub it in the contour shade. It's a cream contour, but instead of applying it straight to my face, I'm just going to first of all rub the brush in the contour cream, like smear it on my hand a bit just to warm it up, and then go on to contour my face. I want to just do this and kind of blend it out before I go into my highlight. And what this contour does to our face is that it gives us back that 3D dimension that our face naturally has. You know, your face is not flat, your face is not 2D. You want to give it back some depth, give it back some dimension, and that's where the contour comes into play. And just warming it back on the back of our hands just helps the creams apply a little bit better instead of going in first of all it being patchy. And I'm just going to go back into my foundation and kind of just blend the edges of that contour to make sure that it stays right where I want it to be. And I'm also going to contour my jaw because when you contour your jaw, it gives it more of, like, you know, a receding type of effect. It helps you chisel out your jaw. So maybe if you've eaten a little bit too much, you can just make that all go away with a little bit of contouring. Next up, we're going to go into concealer. I'll be using the Juvias Place I Am Magic Concealer in the shade number 12. And I'll just be placing that right here, right under my eyes, places that I would like to highlight. Again, I do not color correct because the foundation I'm using is very full coverage, so I didn't have a need to correct the under of my eyes. But if your dark circles are refusing to budge, then you have to color correct just so that the under of your eyes is seamless and it's one smooth color, because you don't want, when you've blended out your concealer, that it looks kind of discolored under there, because we're trying to hide some things, you know, we're trying to hide the lack of sleep, trying to hide the lack of discipline. So make sure you color correct if you need it. And I just want to leave the concealer on there to get tacky for a little bit, because once it gets tacky, it doesn't move around so much and you get a better kind of coverage. And we'll just blend other areas that I don't really care for tackiness, such as my chin and right here. And this is just me reverse contouring. So remember, I contoured with the cream contour from NYX. So I'm just going to use this to just clean up that contour a little bit and also help it stand out a little bit better. And if you noticed, I applied only a little bit, because when you do this step, if you apply too much, as I am very guilty of in the past, it could tend to look a little bit crazy sometimes, honestly. I'm cleaning it up with my foundation sponge so that it can also help mute it down a little bit, but also keeping that same chiseled effect that we're going for. So I'm just going to also blend out the forehead area. And next we're going to blend the under eyes. Now it's been tacky for a little bit, so that means it just dried down a little so that it doesn't move around too much and we get a bit better coverage. And if you notice, when I contoured my face with the cream contour, I did not contour my nose. That is because when I blend out my concealer, I'm actually going to bring it very close to the edges of my nose so that it's going to act like as a pseudo contour. Because when you blend your concealer and you bring it up to the edges here, and you also blend the nose highlights, you notice that your foundation peeks through, kind of making contour lines. So as you can see, like blending the concealer right up close to the nose and also blending the nose highlight kind of gave us the illusion of having contoured the nose. So I usually don't like it to be too harsh, so I still kind of go over those edges and just make sure that it's a little bit less noticeable, a little bit seamless. So right at this point, we want to set our face. I'm going to be going into my setting powder. This is the Cara powder. I think it's made in Trinidad. I really actually like this powder because it does a good job of setting. I'm going to be using that on a wedge sponge, and I'll just take that and just lightly set the under eye. When I say lightly, I mean not lightly, but I like to just go a little bit overboard and I blend as I set. Like as I'm setting, I'm blending the eye. I know it looks like a lot of powder, but I'm blending and I'm going to dust it off in just a moment. And then because of the way the sponge is shaped, I'm able to go into this like nose crevices, under the eyes, and it helps me just set all those areas and also blend at the same time. Then I also emphasize the nose contour with the same sponge by setting that in place. I also set my forehead. Sometimes the powder gets in my brows, but you can also dust that off when that happens. And I also just set the rest of the parts of my face that I highlighted as well, such as the chin and even a little bit of the reverse contour. So this is where we are at right now. At this point, you want to take a big fluffy brush and you want to set the rest of your face. Now we've set the parts we highlighted, but we haven't set the foundation and also the contour. Now I'm going to go into the MAC Studio Fix powder in the shade NW50 on my fluffy brush. I'm just going to take that and set the rest of the face. And this is a powder that is your face color, not any highlighting powder of any sort, but you just want something that is your face color, your normal skin tone color, to just kind of set the rest of the face. And I also go into that powder and kind of set my nose area around it, kind of emphasize the shadows or contour a little bit more. And when I'm done with that, I take the same brush and I just start to dust away. I start to dust away because I don't like to keep the powder on there for too long, because it could dry your skin out a little bit more than you want, and it could also leave like a cast. So I just like to dust it off with the same powder I use for the rest of my face, so that I can mute down the yellowness of the powder a bit and just kind of marry everything together. So this is where we are at, almost done with the skin complexion. I think it's looking good. At this point you could go in with flash photography and just test yourself, but so far I think it's looking good. Next up, we're going to apply some blush. I am going to be going into this eyeshadow palette from ABHxMaster. Now I'm going for more of something pink and girly, so I'm going to be going into this pink eyeshadow and using it as a blush. And we want that kind of flush look. I don't know, I used to feel like as a black girl you couldn't wear pink blush, but there are no rules. As far as it doesn't look crazy, who cares, right? You could wear any type of blush you want to wear. So just going to apply that on the balls of the cheek. And there is something that I see a lot of people do. They just run the blush over their nose to give them kind of a more blushed effect. And sometimes it actually does look nice when you take pictures. So I'm just going to be doing that. You want to concentrate the blush on the apples of your cheeks and just blend it going backwards. So for highlighter, I'm going into the Jcat You Glow Girl highlighter, and I usually use this kind of fan shaped but dense type of brush, and it actually helps me apply my highlighter because I just go on the one side and just brush back and forth like that. Tap off the excess, of course, and then smile, and there you go. Sometimes if I'm feeling adventurous, I also just highlight my cupid's bow and my chin, my forehead as well. Next, we're going to move on to the eyeshadow. Now, soft glam has been in a lot, so I think that is where this is actually going to head. I have this palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills, Master by Mario palette, and I'm just going to create one eye off camera, and I'll come back and I'll do the next eye on camera. So since soft glam is in, I kind of recreated this type of sultry soft glam smoked out eye look. I'm going to be doing it on the next eye. So for the first thing I did was that I went into a fluffy brush and I went into the shade Isabel, and I'm just going to be taking that on a fluffy brush and just blending that all into the crease. And you just want to take your time with it. Don't rush. Just take your time, apply your makeup, have fun with it, and do it to the best of your abilities. So you just want to take that brown shade and just run it along your eye shape in just, you know, a very simple wind swiper kind of back and forth motion, and just kind of intensify it. You want to also apply the color a little bit higher because we'll be applying a dark brown color like right beneath it. Next, I went into a smaller fluffy brush and I went into the shade Violeta. As you can see, I really like this brown, so I use them actually like a lot. And I'm going into that brown shade and I'm just going to start to blend that a little bit beneath the first shade. And as you can see, it starts to intensify the eyeshadow look a bit more. And you just want to bring it to the front part of the eye a little bit, but blending it beneath the first shade that we just did. And I'm going to start winging it out. As you can see, I winged the eyeshadow out on this eye. You want to just do the same thing here as you blend. Again, take your time with it and just blend. Winging it out is just going to elongate the eye, make it fluttery, give yourself the cat eye, give yourself a lift with your eyeshadow. I also went into like a more flat angled brush and I went into some black eyeshadow and I just started to stamp that like right on the lash line. And I also dragged it out to just blend it some more with the dark brown shade to intensify it a bit more. Going back into the brush. Next, I went into the shade known as Muse and I took that on a flat brush like this, and that was the lid color. Taking a smaller brush, I'm going to be going into the shade Fifth Avenue, which is this golden shade right here, and I'm just going to put that in the tear duct area and also on the lower lash line. And if you notice, if you notice, they don't actually look quite alike, but what I did was I went into my custom Coverfx custom cover drops. Now these are like glittery type of drops, and they add like a glitter body glow type of vibe, and mine actually broke, but I wrapped it so I could preserve it, and this is what I'll be using. And what I did, I took some of that on a brush and I just started to paint it over the eyeshadow shade. Next up, mascara. So I'm just going to apply some mascara. For the bottom lashes, I went into a flat topped dense brush like this, and I went into the brown shade Violeta that we blended up in the crease, and I just blended that on the lower lash line. And then I'm also going to apply some mascara on the bottom lashes. I'm going to be going into this gel liner from LA Girl with a pencil brush, and I'll just line my waterline with some of this black gel liner. That is it for the eyes. I'm going to apply some eyelashes and I'll be right back. I just applied these lashes off camera. These are some cheap lashes that I just found in a corner store, and yeah, they're doing the job right now. So I'm going to be applying my favorite lip combo at the moment, which is the Shayla Colourpop lip liner in BFF4, and also the liquid lipstick Ultra Satin Lip actually in Slow Down. And when I apply, I like to overdraw my upper lip a little bit. I also like to just fill in my lips to just contour the lip. Going into the Ultra Satin Lip, I'm just going to put that right in the center. And just pat that into place. You would definitely leave it like this, but to make it even juicier, we are going to go into our Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fenty Glow, and watch this. Juicy, glossy, hey, ready for our date. So I just decided to style my hair a little bit differently. This is the end of the makeup look. What do you think? What do you think?